Welcome to the Church of Mabus radio show. It's Friday night. We're all still alive, sort of. Not really, but let's see. Check out Dead Sky Publishing. Great Splatter Western books the rest of this year. That's who our authors are going to be from. We got Michelle Garza here with us tonight.
Hi.
And then the second hour, Christina, my fiance, is back from Arizona, and that's where Michelle's at, is Arizona.
That's
But
right.
she'll be coming on the second hour, and we'll be talking about some paranormal stuff. But there's one thing I want to say to Michelle that I know you like werewolves and stuff, and I don't want to go into this too heavily. I'll send you the archive, and you can listen to it more of that particular story. But recently, me and Christina are going down a highway, and on the left hand side,
Did you see the dog man?
it was weird like that. Like I don't. We think it was a S Walker, and I say S Walker because I don't want to get them on me any more than they probably already are.
No. Yeah,
But
don't talk
it
about it.
was very strange, and we had just didn't we watch that documentary right before it? After, okay. Well, I've always watched The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch and all that stuff,
Me too, yeah.
and that's a whole nother topic. Those shows are just like insane now. Like the last season ended with them like thinking there's an alien base under there, and like
Yeah.
it just gets
Uh,
weirder. What
yeah.
gets what gets so weird about it is the government spooks there. That's what creeps me out even
Yeah.
more. It's like
hmm
Colonel Alexander's here, the Attorney General state or whatever.
Exactly.
It's like,
Like,
what the hell is happening?
what are you hiding there?
I know. It gets crazy. But anyway, the thing we saw, I swear it was like a big weird wolf.
Oh,
And wolves aren't supposedly in Florida. I mean, I've never heard of one. I mean, maybe I don't know, but it was
wow.
going down on the side, and it kind of just I don't know. It's like I your imagination plays tricks on you too. But whatever it was abnormal. But I thought about
hmm
even a dude like in a wolf fur or something,
Oh,
and
that's
it kind of
neat.
seemed like I don't like golden sort of just under the light. It was just really weird, like something you'd see in a Native American shaman, like an illustration come to
Oof.
life on the side of the road.
Dang.
I don't know what it was, but
Did you guys get it on video or anything?
no, it was like one of those just fast, like what the hell, real
What was
fast.
that? Yeah. Wow,
And
that's crazy.
yeah, I mean, maybe there's a logical explanation. I don't know, but it was weird. It was creepy.
I
So,
love like watching shows and reading about that kind of stuff. Like I believe there's things out there that, you know, we don't think is real but is real. Maybe not like a guy turning into a werewolf, but maybe there's something out there or like a dimension, maybe it's stepping into our dimension for a moment and then going back. I believe in stuff like that.
me too. I mean, basically, the whole show is because a long time ago I had a lot of UFO weird stuff
uh-huh.
and paranormal stuff, and I had
hmm
testicular cancer at a young age, 17, and then a few years later, my dad died. And I
Oh my
started having
god.
a lot of weird, strange things from things in the
hmm
sky, friends going, Jeffrey, you're attracting them here, and
Wow.
and at different houses, and saw some beams of light leave a house. Just a lot of weird stuff happened that may have been connected to him trying to contact from the other side,
Uh-huh.
and it's led to 16 years of this, and here we are,
Wow.
still kicking. And
That is crazy. Yeah. Wow. I believe you though. You know what I mean? Like some people out there they don't believe in that kind of stuff, but I do. I believe in that stuff, you know?
and then just with the media and the news, I mean, that subject in itself, UFOs, is just crazy as hell. Like you're in a
Yep.
sci-fi weird movie now.
I
Like
know.
it's like every time I walk by the news, they're talking about UFOs on mom's
Yes.
TV and
Uh-huh.
stuff. So it's just weird. So how does all this paranormal weirdness fit into your horror?
Well, I would have to say I don't know what it is ever since I was a little kid. And I kind of try to explain it to what I call quote unquote normal people, you know, like I can't explain it. Why do some kids just become obsessed with dinosaurs and paleontology? Why do some kids become obsessed with, outer space and planets? Ever since I was a little kid, I have just been obsessed with monsters, ghosts, everything scary, everything spooky, Halloween, mythology, all that stuff. So, ever since I was a little kid, reading all the books I could on it. And my mom was really big into horror movies and stuff when I was a little kid, so those were not off limits to me and my sister. Actually, she got us into watching like the Universal horror movies when we're like 5 or 6 years old. Um, so I think it's just something that's always drawn me. You know what I mean? Like I've always been looking for it and interested in it. And it's pretty much the paranormal, spooky things, scary things. It's just what I've always been into my whole life. And when I started writing, and I have a twin sister, she writes with me too. When we started writing, when we were little kids, it was a ghost story. It was always a ghost story. Always, always, always. So, I mean, I don't know. I was just born this way, I guess.
Yeah, and that's we've had Stephen Flowers on recently, and he's a guy that's connected with Temple of Set, which is kind of weird if you look into that. But he
Hmm.
wrote a book called Gothic Meditations at Midnight, and it's a breakdown of all these, like, from Nosferatu and occult symbolism and horror and things like that. And he basically went into monster kids, where it's people who, like, I guess he said, like George Lucas and Spielberg, people like that are in the movies, that they were monster kids growing up. The
Yes.
kids with all the monster stuff around them, and that was me too.
Hmm.
And just
Yeah.
how we escaped into that from trauma or abusive
Yes.
parents or whatever.
Hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
I'll send that to you when I send the archive. It's a good one, but that's it plays into that. Is
Hmm.
that part of yours? And also, do you what are some of the horror movies that you remember that you saw when you were younger, like growing up? Night of the Living Dead is like the one that scared the crap out of me the most.
That's funny you say that because anytime someone asks me, like, what's the first movie that scared you? It's The Night of the Living Dead. I was a little kid, maybe like 7 or 8 years old. We were going to go watch the fireworks. And in Arizona, before the fireworks, they were illegal. You had to go to like a high school or something to see it. So our family would pile in the truck and we would drive out in the middle of the desert behind a high school to watch the fireworks. And they had Night of the Living Dead on TV right before we left to see the fireworks. And I was just like, I don't give a crap about these fireworks. There is zombies in the dark. I know they are out there. They're going to eat me. So definitely Night of the Living Dead. Like I said, the Universal horror movies, the Wolfman. I'm I've always been a super huge werewolf fan, and just watching that movie, seeing his transformation, I felt like so bad for him. I loved werewolves ever since I was a little kid, and when I seen him going through his transformation and the ending of the movie, it really made me sad. um, and then beyond that, though, as we got older, me and my sister, like I said, my mom, like, horror movies weren't like off limits. So, and she was a big horror fan. So, Just Before Dawn, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies have like a sweet spot in my heart, I guess. I've always loved the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from watching, in the 80s, The Thing, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, like all of those movies, you know what I'm saying? All the old movies with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, Vincent Price, Elvira. When I was a little kid, I loved Elvira because she was pretty, but she was dark, and also she was like so funny. And I was just like drawn to her. I was like, she was like my savior or
I can't
something.
believe as a kid she was like just on a regular Elvira was just like on a regular TV channel. Like,
Yep.
I can't
Mhm.
remember watching it. It's just weird to think about that's
Yeah.
the only one I got Svengoolie, which I like that, but Elvira is a lot different.
Binguli, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only one I know of here in Florida. That's I'm sure I know there's all kinds of other ones but that's the only one we pick up on like a channel here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it kind of rubbed off on us from our mom. It came from her first, and we just always loved spooky movies and all that. So
Yeah, and the werewolf thing when the Universal monsters. I mean, that was like a weird accident, like a curse. I mean, but the thing bit him
Yeah.
just kind of out of nowhere, you know.
Yeah. It's like, oh man.
And I'm
So,
trying to think of some recent good werewolf movies. Like I've seen some, but they escape my brain right now.
um, recently, obviously, Dog Soldiers was good. The
Soldier,
Ginger Snap movies were good.
yeah,
Um,
Ginger Snaps is real good.
Late Phases was good about the blind or mostly blind
Oh yeah,
guy.
yeah. Light Fate,
Um,
that's worth a watch for sure. One
let's
like Werewolves Within that was based on some game that was decent. It wasn't bad. It was like a comedy sort of
I
too.
have not seen that one yet. I just told my husband last weekend. I was like, I want to see that movie.
Yeah,
So I
it's
need to
worth
see that
watching.
one.
Y'all should watch it for sure. It's worth to watch. And then there's some other ones like I saw there's some cursed one. I haven't seen it yet. That's on Hulu, and they're hard to find, but I think there's going to be an influx. This Dogman stuff, I've kept. If you look on Tubi, I think it's still there. There's a Dogman Triangle.
I yes.
Did you see it?
I
It's on.
yes, I've watched because I have Tubi and I'm like anything I can find with like the Dog Man. And then there was another one. I think it was on Tubi. Like, is it the American Werewolf? And it's kind of like a documentary. People telling their true stories of what they saw.
Let's look for that one. We and her have to look for that.
Yeah,
We saw
yeah.
that.
My
We
husband doesn't believe, but I'm like, I believe. Damn it.
he doesn't believe in paranormal stuff or just
He
like
does.
werewolves.
It's just the werewolf thing because he looks at it too much like you know, them Hollywood movies, like a guy, like, turning
It's
into a
a lot.
werewolf. But
It's a lot. But
yeah.
I've interviewed. She's passed now, which really sucked. Linda Godfrey and her whole like those real
Wait,
cases. Yeah, Linda
wait a
Godfrey.
minute. Did you say she died?
She passed away. Yeah, she did.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. I've read all of her books.
Oh yeah, she did, and it's cool that you're familiar with her. But yeah, she passed away, and I forget exactly what it was from.
Oh my
But it's like
goodness.
a weird surprise kind of thing.
Oh my
It's like last
gosh.
year, and another
Oh.
one was Rosemary Ellen Guiley. That was another lady that was pretty well known. But Linda Godfrey's whole thing, like I mean, I remember some town where there's a sheriff that there were so many werewolf sightings that they like
Y-
started keeping track of it, like
The
keeping up
werewolf file, yeah.
the werewolf files. And does your husband believe in anything paranormal? Or is he just like no paranormal?
He believes in the paranormal, like ghosts and
Go.
demons and stuff like that. But when I try to venture too far into like the dog man stuff, he's like, "No way, really?" I'm like, "Oh yes,
What about
it's fucking,
Bigfoot? What
it's
about
real, dang
Bigfoot?
it."
What about Bigfoot?
I think he believes in Bigfoot. Yeah, I
Big.
believe in Bigfoot.
Yeah, me
I
too.
believe in it.
There's
You
something to
know,
it, and there's something to this dogman stuff for
there
sure.
is just too many people that say the same thing. They're seeing the same thing. There's too many people saying it. And look, like we were talking about with the UFOs, for decades, people would talk about UFO phenomena, and people would be like, "That's BS. That's not real." But even the effing government now
Yeah,
is
it's
saying,
all.
"Yeah, it's real." You know what I mean? So
And then the
there's
stuff
something
with
to it.
the werewolf and the dogman. If you look at all this native stuff going on with
Hmm.
the S walkers, that's
Yep.
real stuff that they're dead
Yeah.
serious about.
Yep.
There's a good episode me and Christina saw on Unsolved Mysteries with those Navajo police. Did you
Uh huh.
see that one? Check out season 3. I haven't
Oh,
watched all of those, but we watched that one late. Went ahead and
I
watched.
watched one, I think, with the Navajo police, and they went to like a lady's trailer, and she was talking. I think she was talking about Bigfoot in that one, and I was like, "Whoa,
I
this
think
is
that's the
creepy,
one.
man."
That's the one. Unsolved Mysteries. I
Yeah.
know they did one on Beyond Skinwalker Ranch where those same dudes went to and had a big S Walker crazy thing happen with some lady that those they came to the S Walkers came to her house and they the family left and never came back, and then they went beyond Skinwalker Ranch and something happened and the lady said that the light came onto it and the S Walkers don't like to be known or you know be in the
Whoa.
public or whatever. And then the Navajo Nation gave her a new house after that
Oh
show.
wow.
But that's
Um.
That's beyond Skinwalker Ranch. If you haven't seen that, it's
I
like a
haven't seen that one.
it's crazy too. Like they're all going to these different ranches where similar crazy stuff's
Yeah.
happening, just like the ranch. I was going to ask you, have you heard of Bradshaw Ranch in Arizona?
No, I have not.
That's one of the
Uh-oh.
episodes on Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, and it has crazy phenomenon. Look it up.
Oh,
There's a book I think, Merging Dimensions. That's I think it's about that, but it's a whole other Skinwalker Ranch type situation. I think Bigelow
whoa.
even had his hands in it. That creepy Bigelow dude that buys
Oh,
all the
yeah. Mm-hmm.
using creeps. But
There was I can't remember if I was watching it on a Skinwalker thing or reading about it. I think it was a girl. They were like kids at the time, and one had come up to their house and it was like messing around the window, and it creeps me out so bad because they said it sounded like a human imitating a dog, like barking, but like woof, woof. And it just give me the chills, like, oh my God, it's trying to like fool you. You know what I mean? Like,
they
make you think
imitate
it's just a dog and open the door or something. I was
they,
like, holy
they
crap.
imitate stuff, and like
Ugh.
Bigfoot does that too. But it seems like they all do it on some. I think the S Walker tries to like help me or something. Like I've
Uh
seen
huh.
those shows, and you're like, okay, you go out there, and then you never come back.
That is so creepy. That gives me like the heebie jeebies, man.
Missing
And
411. Have you ever seen all that? David Play.
yes,
I've
that's
interviewed.
what I was gonna say. I was reading the Missing 411 and watching some of the videos, and I've seen the two movies, the Hunted one and stuff. And the one account, I think it was the lady talking about she was hunting, and it looked almost like the Predator, like when it was like cloaked, like kind of see through, but you could see it like the shape
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Oh my God, I
that's
almost
the one with the
crapped
UFO.
myself.
That was God, Bruce Maccabee's wife, and he's a guy in UFOs. But I've
Uh-huh.
interviewed him 4 or 5 times over the years, and those stories definitely are crazy. I mean, they're creepy.
That's insane. And like I'm so happy I found that stuff later in life though, because when I was a child, we never went anywhere for vacation other than camping in northern Arizona. And
Yeah,
I was like, if I had seen that when I was a kid, I would have been like, hell no, I'm never going camping again. No way.
Christina
Totally
went
creepy.
camping when she was younger, and something pulled her out, and she like woke up outside, and she's talking about camping in northern Arizona.
Oh,
She woke up like something pulled her out, and
oh my God.
why am I out of the tent?
Oh, that is horrible. Oh my God. I
Scared
know my older brother, he used to play jokes and stuff, and he told us a couple times before we went camping, he's like, the Mogollon Rim Monster's gonna get us. He smashes people's heads with rocks and all this stuff.
What is
And
that? The Mongio rib monster? What is
the
that?
Mogollon Rim, yep. Yeah, the
Okay.
Mogollon Rim. That's where we used to go camping all the time. And oh my God, my brother would just scare us to death with those stories. And but what's funny is, I think it was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago on the Mogollon Rim, they had one of the like the highway cameras caught, like I think walking kind of like in the snow. It looked like two Sasquatch and like a little Sasquatch.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
there's some good footage out there that seems real to me. I mean, I don't know, but there was that weird train one that was kind of weird, where these people going by in a train and like got some footage. But there's
Oh,
definitely some convincing weird ones that you're like, that seems real, and everyone in the comments thinks it's real.
right. Yeah.
Say that for everything, but there's a lot that's crap for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Hell's Cargo. What?
Yes.
That's your first splatter western book?
Yeah, that's our first splatter western with me and my sister wrote that one. We wanted to do kind of like a possession story, and my my dad always watches the show Wells Fargo, the old western show, where it's like the guys on the Wells Fargo route and they're getting robbed and all this stuff. And
Yeah.
we're just joking one day. We're like, let's write a scary story like that. And she's like, yeah, let's do it. So um, she kind of had an idea of like a possessed nun, and we're like, well, how are we going to get her, like, to get on, the route or the Butterfield route or whatever. We're like, oh, let's put her in a trunk. So basically,
What's your
we
sister's
have
name? So give her props for the Arthur name. What's her name?
Melissa Layson.
Okay.
Yes, it's Lason, her last name. Um, but yeah, so that was where it first came from, and we were just really wanting to write a splatter western anyway, because growing up in Arizona, the West is just in our blood, basically. We had horses, and like I said, we always did camping, hunting, fishing. Our parents are from the South, so we just did a lot of like outdoorsy stuff, and we're like, let's let's do a splatter western. And we love gore and we love horror and everything else and mix it all together. So that's where that came from. And we're really excited about that one.
Definitely. I
And
love that for sure. Weird
and I
West.
have a splatter western one-off horror comic coming out from the Dead Sky as well. That's going to be coming out soon. That's called Resurrection Hill. And I sold it by saying it was Pumpkinhead meets Tombstone.
Nice. Pumpkinhead meets Tombstone. That's
Yeah.
really cool. And when they say splatter western, is it Weird West and splatter western very similar, but splatter western is just like more guts? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes. It's kind of a play on the one genre is called splatterpunk writing. And it's kind of like, it's very gory and stuff, but it kind of also lets you focus on kind of like problems in the world, almost like punk rock music does. The splatter western morphed from that kind of writing, the splatter punk. So it is uh, really gory. You know what I mean? Has a lot of blood and guts in it, but a lot of them have like a moral to them.
I love them. I love
Yeah.
Weird West, and it's definitely related to that in the family. I've had Joe R. Lansdale on before about Weird West.
Oh, yay! I love
He
Lansdale. He's an icon, man.
I was nervous. Like I'd read him since I was a kid, and then next
Yeah.
thing it's like with you, and my co-host was late or something. It's just me and Joe R. Lansdale, and I'm like,
Ooh.
"Ugh."
I'm so nervous right now, Joe.
He
So
was
nervous.
great. Another guy that comes on, Al Going Back. Have you ever heard of Al Going Back?
Yes, I have. He's another legend,
He's
man.
in
He's
Florida.
he's
Yeah,
amazing.
he's great, and he was friends with George Romero and told us some cool George Romero stories.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and he's down here in Florida. And so, what? Don't you, I know you had some page like Sisters of Horror or something. Or is that something on Facebook I saw? Like you have some.
Yeah, yeah. Our Facebook page is the Sisters of Horror, and we go by the Sisters of Slaughter. That's just an old. It was originally just kind of a funny name that one of our editors made up because people were trying to have a, kind of like a contest, like, oh, what should we call you guys? You guys got to have a nickname, and people were like, oh, the Twins of Terror and the Sisters of Slaughter, and we're like, yeah, we like the Sisters of Slaughter. We'll go with that.
Are y'all twins? Is that
Yes. Yeah,
okay?
she's my identical twin sister.
Oh, okay.
So
And
yeah.
the comic, who did the like illustrations for Resurrection Hill?
Dan Franco.
How is it doing
And
the comic? Is that a lot different?
it was a different writing experience and I really liked it. So I'm actually writing in the works with a graphic novel with Dead Sky about a guy that has to go to hell. It's kind of like a noir, like a crime horror set in hell. So,
Nice.
yeah. So,
And how many books do you have out? How many have y'all done?
oof.
A
I'm
lot.
trying to I'm trying to count. Yeah. We've been in a lot of anthologies with short stories and our first novel, Mayan Blue, was actually nominated for a Bram Stoker Award in 2016. And after Mayan Blue, we had I think 6 or 7 more novels since then.
You don't have to count them all if it's if you
Yeah,
got.
I know. I was like looking at my bookshelf, like, okay, I'm blind. Even if I have my glasses on, I'm trying to count all of them. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good
so
though. Do y'all have like a website or any a link?
no, that's the thing. We do not have a website. We're on Twitter and we're on Facebook, and I just started a Blue Sky page. I
I've
can
heard.
send you the link to those if you'd like.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of Blue Sky, but it'll just to, like be invited there or something weird. It sounds like Eyes Wide Shut. Like what?
Yes. Yeah. I was like, oh, I guess I need to do some more with social media. I'm not really good with this. And
That,
people
that's
were joining it, and I'm like, does anybody have a code to this? I don't know how to do it.
asked for one and someone ignored me. I was like, okay, well, I didn't know him. It was just somebody on my Facebook that I probably added nonchalantly.
I will give you a code if you want to
Yeah,
join. I have some codes
I'll check it out. I need more places to promote
to
stuff.
promote. Yeah.
So, have you had any personal paranormal experiences?
Well, I know, and people, people are going to say it's BS, but I know that the house my grandparents lived in when I was a little kid was haunted. I know it. I just felt it. It's one of those places where the back bedroom where all the kids would sleep when they stayed the night, you knew something was looking at you the entire time. So my grandma would have to sleep in there with us. I'd cover my whole head up, all the way up with a blanket, even when it was summertime and 110 degrees outside, because I did not like it. The hallway was dark and creepy. You would hear things in that house. And my aunt, she had, I think what it was is possibly some of the antiques my grandparents had, because my aunt picked up, it looked like a little wooden owl off the table, and it was like something slapped it out of her hand.
Uh-oh, so ghosts or something.
Yes. And when I was at my grandparents' house one time, I swear I was sitting on the couch, and behind, oh my God, thinking about it like makes me so scared. Behind my grandma's recliner, I swear to God, it looked like the shadow of a man, like hunkered down, but kind of like looking around the side at me. Holy, I think that was one of the last times I ever stayed the night at her house because I was terrified. I
Like
was like, what is that?
shadow being of sort.
Yes.
I've seen some
And
of those.
my grandma was so tough. She was like I said, she was a tough Tennessee lady. She would kill spiders with her hand. She'd be like, "Oh, get out of here!" Like kill it. And I would be so scared, and my grandma would be like, "If you're messing with these kids, you better get the hell out of here!" She'd just start yelling. So she was not afraid, but I was terrified every time at my grandma's house.
That'll do it. That sounds like who knows what that the shadow beings. I've seen those before when I had my dad's ashes that were in a
It
closet in the hallway, and I saw one go down the hall, and then
was horrible.
I was like, "Is it him? Is it something?" like,
Yeah, I was a custodian also for 14 or 15 years, and working at schools at night, I had okay, I was vacuuming, and I had turned off the vacuum, and I was standing there, I was completely alone in the building, and a little rock hit me in the head.
a little rock hit you in the
A
head.
little like it was thrown at me. A little rock bounced off my head. And I was looking around and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And I just wrapped up my vacuum cord and just got the hell out of there. I was like, I'm not finishing vacuuming this building. Nope, it's going to be dirty tonight because I'm totally freaked out. Um, and then I worked at another school. And at that school, it was a junior high. And I was, the custodians have to go check all the doors at night. And my routine, I didn't want to walk around the outside of the cafeteria building. So I kept going. I would go in a door, check it behind me, walk through the dark kitchen, check the doors, and come back. Well, I just kept feeling so creeped out. And one night, I walked to the back, and by the time I got to the back doors of the kitchen, I rattled them. They were locked, but I just had this like feeling like you better get out of here right now. And I was almost running by the time I got back out into the cafeteria. And when I got to the door to leave, I swear it was almost like singing. It was very soft, but it was almost like singing coming from the cafeteria back in the kitchen, and I was like, "Holy shit, I gotta get out of here!" And I just like ran out of there. And in the same school, nobody wanted to ever go in the auditorium at night, and I had to go in there because the lady was sick. And somebody left the stage lights on. They're like, "Oh, Michelle, you got to go turn the stage lights off." So, of course, the back of the stage is all painted black. It's scary as hell. I walk out through the dark stage and the lights are on. It's just the lights on the stage. So you feel like it's kind of like blinding you. You can't see, the seats or anything like that. And I got to the middle of the stage and I shit you not, those lights went off without me touching them. I wasn't even near the wall, near the light switch. And that was probably one of the most scared moments of my entire life. I just turned around and ran. I was like, "No!"
Yeah, it sounds like something if it threw something at you for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
it's usually something Bigfoot does, but I'm not gonna say it's Bigfoot.
right.
They usually
This
don't get you. They just do it like
uh,
around you. I know
uh,
there was an episode, that Unsolved Mysteries episode, where the tribal police were in this building and the coins kept falling. Is that the
uh,
one? Yeah, did you
I
see?
remember that one.
Yeah, that was really crazy.
That scared the crap out of me.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
weird. And he collected it. And I believe those dudes. The native starts talking about that stuff. I don't doubt them at all. Like
Oh, I don't doubt it.
they're not gonna lie about it. Like they're dead
You know,
serious.
it's funny too, when I first moved into this house, every once in a while in my kitchen, it would look like a streak of light. And one time I was standing outside on the back porch and I looked through our kitchen window at my husband because he was doing dishes. And behind him, I swore I saw a streak of light. And this is when we first moved in. And then our older son, he kept telling me about ghost hands in his closet.
Oh, ghost
I,
hands.
I thought it was his imagination. And I was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And that room ended up just being like a toy room, just crammed with his toys and stuff for a couple years. And then later on, when we had our second son, he was about 2 years old, and they were both playing in the toy room. And guess what? He came and told me there's ghost hands.
Oh.
So both my kids had said that. So you know what I did? I went in there, I opened the closet door, and I said, "If there's anything, and I'll bleep it out, if there's anything in this effing house, you are not welcome here." You know what I mean? I just pulled it out like, "In the name of God, you are not welcome in my house, and you are not welcome around my kids, and you have to leave right now." So I don't know if there's actually anything in my house. I haven't seen, since I said that, honestly, I haven't seen any streaks of light or anything again. So I don't.
How did their dad react to all that stuff?
Well, he
Kids
was
are
freaked
usually right
out.
on with it.
He was freaked out because we have our garage built in, and that's our computer room, and he has all of his heavy metal posters. And one night he was up late drinking some beer, and he had the door open to our dining room kitchen area, and he was like, "I swear to you, there's a shadow there." He was like it looked like someone was like like my shadow was in front of me, and he was just expecting me to walk into the door, and nothing ever happened. It was just like a shadow there. But like I said, ever since I got tough mama bear and started telling, "You are not welcome in here. Do not talk to my kids. Do not mess with my kids." Like I said, in the name of God, you better leave my house. We
Yeah,
haven't had anything weird again. So
that's good. So you cast it out in the name of God. That's
I'm,
the best route.
I'm just thinking like either we were all just letting our imaginations get away with us, or there was something that wasn't like violent or anything, just
Yeah,
kind of
kids are
hanging
usually
about.
right on about that stuff. Like they see stuff. I know you know this probably anyway, but they see stuff for sure because they have that. So they're not as polluted yet with everything, so they're more
Yeah.
open about everything.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
definitely fascinating. That's what I think happened to me. I went through the testicular cancer crap, and
Mhm.
lost one and all that, and they think a lot of people like shamans and stuff that I talk to, they think the just that suffering opens your senses.
Mhm.
I've had some weird stuff that I never, would have thought I would have ever seen in my life
Yeah.
that I've seen. Like there was a house here in Florida, Silver Lake. I saw two completely sober, and I've seen stuff in other various modes of consciousnesses throughout my life, but this time completely sober. And I was listening to some Watchword Bible on TV that I was just playing it to basically, if there's anything bad around to make it go away or whatever. And
Mhm.
something said, "Go outside," and I looked in the sky, and I went outside, stood and turned towards my house, and saw two people made of light, like they were in my house and flew through the roof,
Oh
went
my gosh.
into the heavens, like something out of a comic book. Like,
Whoa.
and I think maybe it was deceased loved ones, maybe it was Bible people
Maybe.
or something. I
Yeah.
don't know what it was.
Wow.
It was a LSD flashback. I don't know.
Wow.
Even with that, there's truth. Even you
Oh
see in
yeah.
other realms with that stuff. But
Mhm.
that's some of my big ones and why we do the show. And we've had I've interviewed Stanton Friedman, nuclear physicist. He's passed away now, but there's one of the guys I always use an example about the UFO thing for people that may not buy all the UFO stuff. Captain Robert Salas in the Air Force has a book out. He's still enlisted and active as far as I know, unless it's
Mhm.
changed. It's been a while, but he wrote a book about UFOs coming and shutting down his missile silos at his base.
What?
And this, yeah, look him up. Robert Salas, Salas. He has a book. It's on Amazon. The whole book is about that. So it's like that's a
Whoa.
slap to anyone. Like, here, don't
Yeah.
slap.
Exactly. Wake up, people. This is
Definitely.
happening.
And
Wow.
with the splatter westerns, are you going to do some more in the series, or is there more expected?
We would like to do more. I don't know with the way this one ended if we would continue it or just do like a whole different story. But I love writing horror and westerns awesome. Like I said, I grew up on all of that. So it was like second nature to me to write that. So yeah, I mean if they're like, "Hey, you guys write another one." I definitely do it.
Dead Sky is definitely cool. I love that. That's some unique subject matter for sure. And they just put out that Weird West anthology that had Lansdale and Al Going back in it.
Uh-huh. Yes.
I haven't read it
Yes.
yet, but it's on my to-do list for sure. And I don't know, what are some Weird West like movies? Like I know Tomahawk or whatever. That's like the only one I can think of right now.
Yeah.
There's
I'm
not a
trying to
lot.
think of more too.
There was that Oregon Trail, and I didn't watch that
Uh,
Oregon Trail like a West. I didn't watch it though, but there's not a lot. Like
yeah, there's not a lot. There was one that I saw recently, just like a trailer for it that I was interested in. Oh, what was it called? Oh, it's like you can see like a lady standing in a doorway of like maybe the prairie or the plains, like holding a gun. And I was like, oh, well, that looks cool. I think I want to check that one out.
I think I know what you're talking
Was it
about.
The Wind? Is it called The Wind?
That is it. The Wind. Yeah,
But I've never seen it though, so I can't say like, oh yeah.
I think my first introduction to Weird West was Joe R. Lansdale, the Jonah Hex comics that he
Oh
put.
yes, Jonah Hex, yeah. So yeah, we're kind of all, doing a little bit of Lansdale worship, I think, when we're writing, hoping we can be
Yeah,
as
I
cool as
have a.
that.
Christina's laughing about my crappy tattoo. I have a Joe R. Lansdale. No, it's a Jonah Hex tattoo. It looks terrible right now,
You know
but
what? That's amazing. That is amazing.
it looks like that movie that came out at this point. It's so old, like the crappy movie. Like I never watched that. I don't think, but I think
I don't think I've seen that one though either. That one
with
had
Josh Brolin and like it had
yes,
good stuff in it, but it like they killed it with the reviews, and I was like, I don't know if I'll give it a chance one year. Maybe
yeah.
on
You
a
know
poor
that
day.
reminds me. I think I will. I think I will try that one. Yeah, I'm going to.
It's on Amazon, and we've been watching the new Godzilla, that show on Apple, which I got Apple for free. I ain't paying for it, but for just till
Yeah.
January, that new Kurt Russell situation. That's pretty good.
Oh, is
It's
that
called
a good one?
It's good. It's a whole series, but
Oh.
and basically it's Kurt Russell and his son, and his son plays him in the past, and then I guess
Mhm.
Kurt Russell the actors, the old version, and Godzilla. So
Wow. Whoa, that sounds awesome.
it's connected to all the recent Godzilla movies, like the Kong versus and all that.
Uh-huh.
It's that dude. So yeah, it's worth watching for sure.
Oh, dang.
And uh, trying to think of what else have we been watching. We watched Loki. That was good. We finished
Was that
that.
a good one?
Yeah, Loki's good with
I think my son was watching that one. Yeah.
anything with trickster stuff. I'm in for
You're
sure.
in for it. Yeah.
Yeah, Coyote and all that stuff. That's a good one to. I know. What's his name? Christopher. He has a book with Coyote in the title from the Splatter westerns.
Oh, the 13th Coyote.
Yeah, and
Oh, yes. Yes. I seen the cover for that one. I think it has a werewolf on it, and I was like, that's amazing.
then there's like Ballad of the Weir Vixens or something. It's like the sequel.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Uh,
I was
the,
like, holy crap, that's amazing.
is there any? There was one. God, there's some weird West book I got recently called Red Rabbit or something like that. Have you come across any books that are any good that are Weird West, other from other authors that you've read that you can think of?
Oh yeah, there's like a lot that's been out. Was it Christine? What's her last name? Oh gosh. Christine Morgan wrote one. Haley Piper wrote one.
Those are the
Um,
splatter western.
yes, yes. Um,
I'm yet to check them all out. Here's one that I
yeah.
haven't read yet that you might want to make a note of that I got, but I haven't read it. A publisher sent it to me. It's called Red Rabbit by Alex Grecian.
Oh, okay.
Grecin. But just remember Red Rabbit. It's on
Red
Amazon.
Rabbit.
It's got good reviews. Like I love the genre, so that's why I was
Yeah.
so excited about all the splatter western books. Like
Yeah.
it's just a weird, unique genre that we need more of for sure.
Are you gonna check out the you are checking out the Splatter Western comics too then, huh?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen yours yet, but he
Yeah.
did send some uh, from God, where are they at? RH Latch did one of them.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
have them here, and here they are. Let me see. Bone Tribe,
Yes, that one. Yeah, Bone Tribe.
and
Uh-huh.
there's like I'm opening them so I can remember the titles. But I read Bone Tribe's the one. Okay, the other one's Swallower of Shades.
Swallower Shades is good. I read that one too. Yeah.
I'm trying. I haven't read Swallower of Shades, but Bone Tribe, is that the one in the weird town, and it's like really weird with the zombie people, sort of.
Yeah.
The parallel. That was crazy. It was like Twilight Zone for sure.
Like do 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 do
It
do
was
do
really
do
good. Well
do.
done too. And definitely we'll be checking out the Western comics and stuff. And when does yours come out?
January 24th.
What about Hell's Cargo?
That is being all put together right now, so we don't have an exact date for the release of that one yet.
All right. Well, we appreciate it so much with Dead Sky Publishing and you, and I've really enjoyed the interview. And thanks so much, and good luck with your books. And I hope y'all do some more. Keep the splatter western alive.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. I really had a great time talking with you.
All right. Have a good night. Y'all have a good weekend. Take care.
Bye.
All right, everybody. You're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM New Orleans. Christina Giordano's coming up. My fiance, she's back from Arizona from seeing her daddy and family, and she came here. Her daddy loves me, and the guest was from Arizona too. Arizona representing Arizona, and here's something that. Oh, first off, you're listening to United Public Radio, 107.7 FM New Orleans. You gotta. It's weirder when you're just on here by yourself. Like I start freaking out and stuff. Like, oh, I'm by myself. Oh, going to Adam Sandler mode. Citizens petition to stop animal cruelty. Here's a place that's the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. You can go to pcrm.org. That's pcrm.org. And basically, this is they help shut down cruel animal lab stuff. Like there was the dog situation with the what was it the the beagles. And that's a weird story because I actually called that place that was hurting the beagles and prank called them one night. And I was like, hell's coming. I didn't threaten anyone, but I guess that's sort of a threat. But anyway, that place eventually got shut down. And they were basically doing sick crap to animals. Sick. And they all look like my little Jack dog who died. So, sick. I understand doing stuff to like help humans, but that's just like doing weird experiments on animals and starving them and crazy, weird, sick stuff. It's disgusting. Humans are gross. Like, who could work that way? Like, you just go to work every day and there's like just animals being tortured in cages in weird ways and given weird medicines. Oh, we're doing it for humanity. Oh, not our pocketbook. Oh, whatever. Kiss my grits, you sickos. But anyway, we got Christina Giordano here, back from Arizona.
Arizona
Arizona representing.
representing. Why did I hear an echo? I'm not
You.
sure.
Let me turn you down a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah. And I'm not sure why it's doing that, but we'll figure it out. It's like my headphone. Push it back a little. Let's see. That might help some. Well, what can you tell us about this place I just plugged, Christina?
Well, basically, I was going to say humans aren't horrible. It's mostly the fact that we're kind of here making choices. We all have to decide what we're going to do with our time. And sadly, even as an RN, from what I understand, the Beagle place, for example, they were testing for pharmaceutical companies and others who pay them money, purchase puppies and so on, and send them to this facility to test medications to put out for humans to be as safe as possible, like during COVID, to test probably ivermectin and so on. So they probably have, I want to say, a good intention for what they're trying to do. But yes, sadly, the animals were getting the bad end of that. So no joke, you actually called them and prank called them. And not long after that, they were busted. So basically, the letter that I gave you was to plug something about helping to stop. There's like maybe 5 different facilities that we know of in the US where they basically are putting money towards studying on animals, live animals. So it's just basically saying, can we try to stop doing this cruel thing if possible? Because there is actually things that can be used that are not live. Like those animals, the beagles, they would basically be puppies tested with high doses of different medications to see how much they can handle before they usually are killed. So it's just sad. It's just trying to stop any kind of killings that don't need to be happening, whether it's animals or human. Life is life.
Yeah, most definitely. And let me see. When you're listening, do you hear an echo of me?
I do slightly. Let me know if I need to run out of here. We're in the same room, first of all, so I'm using my phone with earbuds and just trying to fill in. So if I need to step out, I will.
Oh, I don't know why you would do that.
I don't hear it bad on my end, so I would just try to roll with it.
Yeah, so we'll just go with it. Well, when it comes to the skinwalker situation, the dog type creature that we saw on the side of the road, what do you think about that?
Well, what's oddly enough is that last week is when it, no, 2 weeks ago, when you had a show last, you were going to have the show with someone else from, what was the place you plugged tonight for the gal? I'm sorry, I was trying to do other things at the same time. The publishing company. He sadly missed the show, so he's going to reschedule, I think, in December or something.
Yeah.
But one of the last things I had wrote on a piece of paper, because you had said, sadly, Jay McNicholas, that normally co-hosts with you or Lamb, he couldn't be on because of work. So it was one of those where you told me, "Do you want to be in here and help me?" I'm like, "Oh my god!" So writing down things to figure out what to talk about. And one of the last things, oddly, again, there's no, I believe, no coincidences. Everything's a synchronization, just like the gal on tonight's from Arizona. It's all Southwest Publishing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm from the Southwest Arizona, just like you're throwing me in. And I want to believe, okay, so everything's supposed to happen for a reason. Last thing I wrote on the paper before we went to go to Walmart that night, sadly the man didn't show up. So we're like, let's go to Walmart. Let's do the stuff we need to do. And I wrote on the paper, Dog Man. I didn't write SW or any of those things because also I'm always trying to be respectful as possible, and not bring anything into our home that's negative or heavy that could cause harm to anyone. But that was the last thing I wrote on the paper. And then we're driving towards Walmart, as you know, not far out of our little town of Graceville. And looking over to the right, there's this what looked like a dog, but a huge wolf size, and it was awkward colored, like very goldish. It was weird. It was like I looked at it and I said, that wasn't a coyote, and we are not in an area where there's wolves. And it was huge. It was awkwardly weird, huge. And all I thought was instantly, Dog Man, SW. And yeah, Jeffrey, stop talking about these things. Like I always try to have like a balance of not fear, but reverence. I think a part of me, being that a Native American and different things, I'm very, let's be careful what we talk about and all of that. So we don't want to bring it in our homes. And yeah, it looked like what I would say probably would be an SW. It was very large and it wasn't normal. And I just felt a calm in me of something saying again, okay, it doesn't matter what you write, what you think about. Again, it's very important what you think about, what you believe, because it's very real. There's other things on the other side of us that we need to be careful. Kind of a reflection again. So I think that's kind of what it was saying was, hi, cool, you want to talk about us? So
Well, it was definitely creepy. And it was down there eating roadkill or something. And one of the other weird things that happened recently is we were walking down the road near here, and there was a dead cat on the side of the road. And I walked up to it. It was Himalayan like, and one of its eyes was hanging out of its head, which was gross. And there's a blood trail. A car ran over it. So basically, I moved it so I could get it out of the road. So I didn't want it to keep getting splattered or whatever. And basically put it on the side near the woods. Didn't have a shovel. And we went on our way. And I said a prayer. Something said thank you, which I don't know if it was the cat or God or something. I don't know. Fairy. Who knows? But something said thank you. And we walked home. And then days later, my mom wakes up early. And for some reason, she saw a cat on the treadmill that looked like a Himalayan. And sometimes when she wakes up, she has visuals of weird things like ghosts and weird stuff like that. But basically, she saw a Himalayan cat. So it was like it stopped by here and did whatever, said thank you, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the echo.
Try to talk as normal as possible. You're kind of talking in a slow delay, and I think it's picking up your echo.
All right. I'm still here.
Just talk normal.
And do me a favor. Do you have a mute button on your end on there?
I don't hear it doing it anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, that's odd. I think it's just my headphones that weird.
Everything's odd. We're just weird, and it's okay. What I was going to say is I think, as most people know or have heard, that believe in whatever you want to call it, new agey, that I get belittled for being, to whatever, the veil is thin. It's like Halloween all the time. So like the weird gifts I've always had and or I felt insane, cursed from my earliest memories. I've been called a shaman by a shaman. I've been afraid to be a witch my whole life, including which I think, and that's why I've told you as my masculine, I need to be the divine feminine. And as twin flames, whatever you want to say, I need you to protect me from whatever it is that's always on the other side and vice versa. Like I've actually have came outside and seen you looking at the sky. I saw a huge shadow being that was standing behind you. I don't know what it was, but I know it ran away and it was on its fours as fast as it could as I approached you, and I just felt like something said it was the light in me that walked out towards you like the nightingale is the RN that's in me, the healer. Again, having gifts, I've always tried to not let fears define me, but why I need to be careful because something that I've always seen or whatever I didn't understand, I try to chase. I try to chase it to understand. So I need to be careful because, even that kind of thing, the SW is looking for what you would describe as a witch. And I've had some issues in the last couple of years since I've known you. I love you, and yet I have to be careful again. And that's what I'm saying. We are connected. All of us are. I mean, I've had a friend that I cared about in high school. She played with the Ouija board in another part of town. And I had weird stuff going on in my house that I can't describe as anything, but she had opened a door somehow and it was affecting me and it was dangerous. And I had to tell her, please do not do that. Close that door. So the SW is looking for a witch specifically or some kind of thing that it wants to be with on the other side. And I've dealt with bouts of really bad depression, even suicidal thoughts. And so saying, basically it's very important what we do with our energy, what we talk about, what we do. And that's why we're here tonight, even no joke. Like, Jay had to work, but I'm here because I'm trying to help you work together as a team. I believe like a Roman soldier, we put our shields together and we learn to understand what it is we don't, what's out there. Instead of being afraid of it, we try to understand it. The science in me again, not to be afraid of it and to try to understand the paranormal world and know that it's very real because things I never asked for my whole life I've been afraid of. I literally was scared I'd get locked up for. I've been the nurse and being like, oh my God, I see things and I don't want to get in trouble. And yet it's like, you know what, this is very real. So if there's something I need to do to help other people, let me be able to do it and not be afraid of whatever it is that's trying to probably silence me or sadly take my energy, even if that means sadly my life. That's the ultimate thing. I think there's definitely something on the other side of this life. Our soul is eternal, I believe. And so, yeah, it's very important what we do with this time and our choices. It's a gift, basically, not something we want to run from.
Most definitely. And I know I mentioned briefly the tent booty situation. You remember the tent booty story?
Yeah, I'm guessing this was early junior high, maybe like 13. Where we were camping in Arizona again, up in Mingus Mountain. And that, I mean, everywhere in this world is very spiritual, but Native American is very in that land. And all I know is I think I have a connection again with the other side, including Sasquatch, possibly is my guess, because the things that would have sadly probably ate me, because whatever would take the time to somehow open a tent, which I don't know how even a bear would do that, like meticulously open a zipper and pull me out of the tent where I'm sleeping with my father, sister, and brother. Weirdly, half my torso was pulled out the tent from like my umbilicus belly button down. And yeah, it was weird. Like I woke up, what the heck? Like it's brighter than normal, and yep, I'm halfway up the tent. And my first thought was, this is weird because I should be dead right now if something was trying to eat me. And so I thought, even then, raised like a little Pentecostal Christian girl, it was a Sasquatch. I had no clue really what that was, but I knew this has to be something not normal. So,
Shaka squatch love booty.
well, and the Florida story. Or I don't know if it was a jaguar or whatever wild the panther is out here. But yeah, again, I have two American bulldogs. I'm out there with the Chihuahua and Maltese that sadly have passed away since then. But living in Marianna, Florida. When was this? This was before you moved in, right? 2020. So I'm out there with the dogs and doing my thing, letting them go potty before bed. And there's this really thick forested area. And yeah, I was down petting the dogs, and I thought, this is a really dangerous position. If there's predators out here in the forest, which is right behind me, and in that moment, so again, it's kind of weird, and you need to be careful. There's something connected to your mind, telepathically, whatever you want to say, that can read your thoughts. So it's very careful what we think about, because while I'm down there thinking that, I heard the most scary scream I have ever heard in my life. I don't know if it was a Sasquatch. I've heard cougars in Arizona, grown up hunting with my father and so on. It wasn't that. And what's scary is that it was so scary that the dogs I was with did not bark. They were silent. And you know my dogs here, they bark. American bulldogs, and they were silent. Their hackles were up on the back of their necks, down their back. And we all got inside quietly into the porch area and shut the door. We were just like quiet. And I knew in my head again, whatever that was not normal. And again, while I thought something in my head, this is a dangerous position, I could get attacked. And weirdly, whatever you want to say it again, I don't know how or why, whatever it is, with the Sasquatch, whatever maybe, where I thought in my head something perverted. This is a perverted position I should be in, just like when I woke up in the tent, even that young. My butt was sticking up in the air. Yeah, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like something was checking me out. I don't know to say what that is, but that's what I
Shaka
thought.
Squatch love booty. Shaka Squatch. But JoJo never saw his secret Sasquatch, Shaka Squatch secret Christmas video.
What?
During the Halloween, it wasn't a Christmas video, it was during the Halloween show. I wore the mask and I go, Shaka Squatch love JoJo.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Shaka Squatch love booty. But anyway, Arizona. You've ever been to that Bradshaw Ranch or heard of it? Does it ring a bell any?
Well, what's
Sedona?
funny is actually you said, do I know of the Bradshaw Ranch, which I guess is in Sedona? No. I went and looked it up when you told me about it. I was in Arizona, but what's crazy is my dad lives in this tiny little area in what's called Mare, Arizona. And he actually has two properties in what's considered Mare. But out there is the Bradshaw Mountains. And so that's what's crazy is you asked about it. And it's kind of like actually where I'm at is what that ranch would be named after. And there is, again, a lot of weird stuff that happened even when I was in Arizona for the last 6 months, like up at their cabin, up in this certain area. There was what I don't know what to call, looked like little children or watchers, I called, where they'd kind of be going through the house, watching me. I'd be eating dinner by myself, house sitting, and see the corner of my eye. I'm being watched. And so again, I didn't have sage at the time, but I'm praying and just like, whatever that is, God, I just pray for healing in this land. And, if there's something heavy here, specifically in the house, the cabin I was at is up in Breezy Pines area, which is an old mining town. And sadly, again, a lot of rich, heavy history with the Native American people, and often bad things, where people would have been killed or, just not treated the best and kicked off their land. And sadly, in the end, there's kind of a heavy feeling there. And that's what I felt my whole life growing up. And maybe because I have these weird gifts, whatever you want to call it, I'm trying to bring healing to the land. I'm trying to actually bring, even to maybe if they're ghosts or people on the other side that are trying to say, hey, hi, I think they know I can see them. Try to somehow give them peace if there's a way that they can be released, or even whatever that SW, that wolf thing. Maybe it's a spirit, because I've often seen that before without you. Even recent in Arizona, often again, weirdly around graveyards. And again, I've had these weird gifts my whole life to the point where I just kind of feel like it's normal when I know it's not. Or again, I've spent most of my life, or all of it, until the last year, 6 months even, being afraid of my gifts because I was scared to get locked up or judged to be something I'm not, whether it's the church or the medical field, So again, I think definitely there's no coincidences. There's something that's trying to get us to use our experiences, especially crazy hard things like you've mentioned, dealing with cancer, life or death situations where you absolutely, I would say, look death in the face. And as like a shaman would say, you're able to step through that fear, right, and actually embrace the shadow with light. So,
Amen. Hallelujah, mother truckers. That's right.
oh,
And well, one thing we'll get back to some questions. Is there a particular one you want to talk about next?
I knew you were going to do that.
Well, I have some I can roll out.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I know you told one story about a strange creature that was like a half weird, misshapen mutant thing in a cemetery or something like that. One that was like crawling around like. Ring a bell?
Are you talking about the torso story?
Yeah.
Okay, let me have a sip of something here, and then we're going to talk about Klamath Falls, Oregon.
Okay. Well, you take a sip for a second, and I'll just bring up the January Neil Donald Walsh interview. I'm scheduling for January right now, and so far I have Eric Grimsrud and have him.
And wait, can everybody hear me right now? It's strange because of the echo in my headset. When I mute your mic, it goes away. It's strange.
We're trying to figure out tech stuff.
But right now, I'll just mute that, and then we'll come back and get onto the other subjects. But Neil Donald Walsh, I'm scheduling right now for January 2024, and so far, Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God. That is the 12th. And then, of course, if you haven't read Conversations with God, that's a real good one. And you can, those books kept me out of prison pretty much. It was just God in a way that I'd never heard it before. It was God. He seemed more like there's something in it that says why sometimes God can sound like the fellow next door, which that might be creepy for some people, but I always think of the guy on Tool Time from like that. God, what is that dude's name? Tim Allen. Yeah, the guy that's like your neighbor, or John Candy. We just watched Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and that was pretty funny. I'd seen it a long time ago, but that's a hoot for sure. And Steve Martin and John Candy. But anyway, the Conversations with God book, I know one thing he said that God told him was, "You got me all wrong," and that's pretty much one of the messages to humanity. How humanity uses God in so many different ways, in an abusive way, like, oh, the tornado killed a village. Oh, those people must be sinners, or just a lot of murder that they say God did, which what if God didn't do that? It was just people. And God didn't say, oh, why don't you murder them today? I'm God. Which, I mean, maybe he did some days. I don't know. It's like not Cain and Abel. What's the one with the son and the dad? What's that one again? My mind's going blank. No, the Christian one where the dad's like, God's like, kill your son.
Oh,
Abraham and Isaac? Okay, yeah, that one's a little weird. I'm not going to get into that one.
Very similar, and I actually was raised Pentecostal Christian, but I just realized that.
And but anyway, Eric Grimsrud is the first show of the year. We'll be talking about Trumpelgooch. We'll be talking about Trumpelgooch being Mabus, which I hope he's not Mabus, because this is Church of Mabus. I don't want to be a church of Trumpelgooch.
I don't even like Trumpelgooch. I don't like any of them. We're not going to get into that, but Eric will be talking about that
when it comes to January 5th. So that's what I got so far. Moving slowly but surely. It's strange. She's in the same room with me, so we're trying to figure it out. But when I'm talking, if I mute the mic, the echo goes away. So it's just odd. I don't. We'll have to listen to it after and just see and work with it and figure it out. Usually, there's people in the chat room I can ask, but I guess everybody's like in a turkey coma, so I don't see anyone. So, but well, the torso story, is that the one we want to get into?
All right. Tell us that story about the torso.
Just so I don't forget, obviously I'm filling in for Jay, but hopefully in the future, if I ever do this, I'll be setting up the gypsy wagon in the RV so I can do it in there and not be doing it in the same room with you. So, but yes, going back to Klamath Falls, Oregon. I know it was military related, I believe, anyway, because I know it was on Memorial Day at night. Again, I'm a weird one, I know, and I always love to go. I don't say I love to go, they've always drawn me to them. And my dad, again, weirdly showed me them. But, cemeteries, graveyards, so on. Um, and yeah, I remember driving through it with my friend Justin on Memorial Day, but it was night, and we sat there for a bit, and we weren't doing anything, we weren't high or anything. Um, and no joke, on the hill, this is in Klamath Falls, Oregon, an old cemetery, very cool. You know, everyone grew up in it, and usually the USM would say playing Oregon Trail, right? So it's very, very spiritual, very heavy area, and something to it, I think. And I've seen a lot of things with that on Halloween in the graveyard, but Memorial Day, and I know I saw what looked like half of a torso, and it was literally wearing military clothes, like an old uniform, crawling up the mountain, the hill towards us in the vehicle. And I said, "Do you see that?" And he said, "Yes." That's all he said, and I hit the gas and ran out. I call it my Irish kicked in. Or I don't usually, again, act scared of things, but that was scary. And it reminded me of watching, like, the 13th Ghost. So that's probably why, and it reminded me of when they talk about the torso, and it's like, oh my god, like there's literally a torso crawling towards us, and it was like I had half an arm, and that's it, crawling it, and I thought, okay, in my head, something military, and for some reason, again, they know I have gifts, and they're trying to show themselves to me. I don't know, they don't want to be forgotten, I guess, is maybe what it is, but Justin Fennell was with me, my friend in Salem, Oregon. So thankfully, I've had a lot of weird experiences with other people because I would question it completely. Or again, I've been able to a lot of times if I've seen things in the hospital, for example, at night, working on security cameras and whatnot, I've been able to call and ask, can someone please come up here? And I've told very few people what I've seen, and thankfully, usually they confirm that other people have seen the same thing, or I'm not completely crazy like I've been scared of my whole life. So, you getting crazy with Vix?
That's right. We're doing the mix tonight, baby. That's what I do.
What was a place where someone saw some kind of creature and there's a security guard that said other people saw it or something? You just tell me a story like that.
Basically, kind of, yeah, I ran into that, I guess. I was trying to think of the year. I don't know if it really matters. I think it's just my mind that's always about facts. If anyone cares, like when I lived in Klamath Falls, it was, I'm pretty sure, Memorial Day in probably around 2012. Yes, that's my guess. Anyway, then the next weirdest I was just saying about security specifically was in Elko, Nevada. And I won't say names because he actually worked for the military as well. Really cool guy. Um, and he's one of those I would trust with my life. So I know that he wouldn't be messing around with me. And for example, again, I'm into having freedom of fill in the blank. And he served our country in the military. So he was one who wanted to actually have a gun on him, which I think is actually intelligent. Being a nurse and working in the hospital, it's actually one of the most dangerous positions out there, believe it or not, especially working nights, rural, which is where I've worked primarily. Um, Elko, Nevada, if you don't know where that's at, is an awesome, really cool town. And the first place I lived outside of Arizona, and I met someone who worked in security. He would do his rounds every night when he worked. Um, and so, for example, he basically had told that we had discussions about stuff outside of that, so I trusted him again. He said other people recorded seeing what I had seen. And what's weird is that anytime I had seen it, it was almost always exactly 333 in the morning, because I'd worked nights almost always my whole career, from usually 6 at night till 6 in the morning. And weird stuff would always happen my whole life from about midnight till 4 in the morning. But 333 is always a really crazy thing. And I found out my numerology number, life path number, is 9, and 333 is 9. So again, everything is basically a message. It's like people can pray all day or whatever you want to call it for signs. They are everywhere. We just cannot literally see them because there's so much everywhere. But I imagine a lot of times would be by myself or have maybe one other nurse, not completely alone, so it felt like it, but one other nurse. Maybe we're on break taking turns, so you're up there alone, and I'm doing something, whatever, and I look up at the camera a split second. And that's what the thing is, like you said, with seeing with the possible SW on the side of the road. You see it very clearly, but it's so fast that right after your mind logically wants to say, that's not what I just saw. What was that? And then you fill in what should logically make sense. But I looked up and saw clear as day what looked like, and I've seen it before, very similar, like The Ring. If you see the movie, what looks like a dark figure, but a very scary kind of thing. But picture it down on its fours and just like long hair over its whole body and crawling, like something you again would be like scared seeing in the 13th Ghost of like the witch figure where it's coming at you quickly. But I look up and see on the camera something go by on its fours like that, and I'm like, what was that? Or it's like, I'm just crazy and I don't want to know what that was, because of course at the same second I'm thinking, oh my god, it's literally running right towards where I'm at. It's like, so I just pretended that didn't happen. And when my friend came by and did walks, yep, he was like, I've heard that actually recorded by other people as well. So I'm like, well, that's good, I think. And then he basically said, and that's what I realized, a lot of times there's something to it, where he said there's something to this land. And this is like a guy I know is like Irish, not indigenous in any way. And yep, it's like it was a Native American thing. It's like something which is not funny, but it was like, oh my god, something to it being a witch and something with the land being cursed. And I mean, it is big time again, a mining area. And they're out there getting money and gold and things from the land and making huge amounts of money. I know we need these things, but I feel there's something tied to it possibly, where it's kind of, there's still a heaviness there. Like, you don't need to be here taking from our land possibly in a greedy way. Just like, absolutely, I'm at a hospital, a nurse working, and I'm there to heal. And there's positives to it, but I know with that, there's also a lot of corruption again, going back to these animals that I was asking to help save. Sadly, they're being tested on. They're working for, just like I've been many times as a nurse, working for maybe corrupt people, or land that maybe is very heavy because there's a lot of heaviness there. So, if that makes sense.
There's also a UFO in Silver Lake.
Yeah, you should tell me that story.
You want me to tell it? Or you want to tell it?
Well, I thought you live there. You can tell it if you want. Sadly, my second uncle, my mom's uncle, Paul, I can say his name, Paul Williams. He grew up in actually that area. And he told you a confirmation to the story, which was nice, right? It's weird, like talking to the security guy, hearing, oh, good, other people have told you that. Well, I think. So yeah, a confirmation story about an alien out in Silver Lake, Florida.
Yep. Basically, he said that he was a Vietnam vet, and basically, he said that there was. I used to live on Silver Lake. Someone told me a weird story about witches used to meet there. I don't remember. And Native American mounds and all this stuff, and arrowheads and all that stuff. And basically on Silver Lake, I saw some UFO stuff out there. I saw one day it was like there was an invisible something in the yard making the winds blow and stuff, like it was flying around and you couldn't see it, almost like a stealth drone. And I didn't see anything in the sky. My brother saw it. It was like it was flying. It was weird. But basically, he's passed now, but he said that there was a UFO at the bottom of Silver Lake. I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'd like for it to go out there like Yoda and make it lift up. I'm going to do it right now, live on the show. I'm going to make the UFO rise from Silver Lake and come here so I can start world domination. You hear that, government? We're going to make this UFO rise tonight, live on the show. Shaka Squatch. Anyway, it's a weird story and just a bizarre oddity. And Christina attracts experiences, and so do I. And we've had some together, and she's seen some strange beings standing over me late at night. You want to tell us that story?
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just laughing watching you, like you're talking like you're like the special wizard. I don't know what the word is. We are, I guess, special wizards, right? And wizards. I don't even know what the word is. I say dudettes and dudes, but anyway, yeah. Basically, when you moved in with my grandma, mom, and I over in Mariana from Graceville, Florida, we met. I guess it was the tail end of 2019, and then 2020 was, I would say, as you described, sadly, the oldie days of all these good things of your life. That was when our relationship was like the honeymoon period, sadly, before we even got married and before you moved in with us, pretty much, or when you did, to help take care of my mom and my grandma primarily, as we've talked about in the past here and there. But basically, I moved down from Washington to Florida to take care of mostly grandma as a nurse full time, um, as she had sadly dementia and other things progressing quickly, and she was getting more and more confused. And my mom was supposed to be taking care of her, but she, as you know, is not safe enough to be taking care of herself right now either. So, long story short, it was insanely crazy. And thank you for all of the help that you've done, really, in helping me take care of my mom, grandma, and the animals, because we have a zoo here, literally, from a mini pig to American bulldogs, again mentioned, to when I went and took care of this time to take care of myself and heal. Really, after taking care of grandma, it was the biggest time I needed, of 6 months, to take care of myself and heal from really 10 years plus of being a nurse. Weirdly, yes, we both have similarities as being middle kids, having very weird experiences, near-death experiences, to so on. You have to keep me on task too with ADHD, because I have that, everyone. I always say, embrace the weird, which includes the its, all of your little things that you've been told you have, and you can heal from. But we all need each other to stay on task and do things. So basically, you moved in with us to help take care of grandma, and that's what's sad. And you have no medical background, of course. I'm a nurse, so I'm trying to teach you how to do all this stuff as it's happening. And I know we've had our crazy fights. We've been through hell, like the worst experiences you can literally go through. From even this year having our animals die. But basically, I believe these things happen for a reason again. Even grandma passing away. That was in 2021, July. And thank you again for helping take care of her. Because I've been mostly a labor and delivery nurse on the opposite side. So, and it was very crazy different when you're doing it for your own family, especially, and by yourself. So she passed the end of July. And within literally days, it was like the first week of her passing, I woke up. Again, you were describing your mother, who has these, what I would call twilight visions, whatever you want to say it. You're like between sleeping and you see things that are very much there, between the worlds, whatever you want to say. I truly believe when you go to sleep, you're in the other side of the worlds in ways, whatever, you can travel. I woke up and saw very clearly. Within 10 minutes of falling asleep, it was like I kind of woke up and opened my eyes and saw very clearly above you, levitating, literally, no like feet on the floor. Something, what looked like a mosquito, very creepy face, because it wasn't like an actual thing hanging, but it looked like something getting sucked up into its mouth. I don't know how to describe it, but it was literally like a gray looking thing coming up from you into its mouth. And I woke up and knew it was like, what the heck is going on? And it looked at me and quickly flew into the darkness, completely to the other side of the room. And I just was like, whoa, what the heck just happened? I've never ever seen something like that. And all I could think of was that for some reason, succubi or something above you that was taking your energy. And I was like, I've been telling you the story, feel drained, exhausted. And it was not good. Like, I didn't like it. Oh.
Well, all the aliens want my milkshake in the yard. All the aliens want my milkshake in the yard.
I'm just kidding.
But
But
I've had other stuff
like
like
that,
that.
my friend Paul, he was a roommate who was an atheist, and I went to live with him in Georgia. And after I lived with him, he was no longer an atheist. He wasn't like diehard Christian or anything, but I think he actually goes to church now. But he had a dream of aliens taking me out the window. So I don't, hell if I know what's happening. I've seen a lot of weird UFO stuff, but they may be messing with me, or they probably are messing with me on different levels that I can't even psychologically understand. And some of them probably are parasitical. Succubi, like South Park. I want a succubi, a Marie Calendar. But anyway, these beings, there's a wide variety of them, and I've seen UFOs over many houses and witnesses, and it happens sometimes, but I call the big ones Goldie Oldies. I would like more of the Goldie Oldies, but it's mostly just where you see a craft that's so clear and big that it's not like you're just looking at a little star in the sky, which could also be a UFO, but it's like it's down in the atmosphere right over your home, and it's big, and it's real, and it's crazy, and I think I have psychological issues from whatever the hell happened from some of it. But there's also a way to break through and see that stuff and to track them. And then that seemed to alert a government agency of some sort who came out to investigate. And there was a strange craft, which I'm still not even sure who or what was in that strange craft, but something or a human, or I don't know if it's an alien or what, but it waved and it shot off and vanished. And it was very weird. It was like something came out to investigate the UFOs, or maybe it was part of the UFOs and like a scout ship. I don't know what the hell it was, but it's interesting when you bring this stuff up with the witnesses and they don't remember it, or they act like you're crazy. Not all of them, but there's a few that you just can't believe that they don't remember it. And that's a phenomenon that happens with a lot of this paranormal stuff. People, two people see it and only one remembers. And I've heard a lot of different cases and stories like that and things like that. And are they being mind wiped? Did the mind overcome that? It was too much and create a different reality? I forget what the hell that's called, but there's something like that where your mind fills in the gaps because it's too much of a shock. I think a lot of that's happened to me. And there's a lot of, PTSD and stuff from it. Like I can remember being in Bermuda Street in Georgia, and something came up to the windows and flashing weird little like white lights in the windows fluttering around, and I was scared. I didn't know, like at the time I was so scared I didn't even want to try to see what it was because it was just so weird. Sometimes I wonder if it was like little beings with some kind of headlights. Like that's what I saw in my mind's eye, like some kind of headgear, and it flashed. But that was some strange stuff, and there's different experiences. And I know Christina, you've had some triangle craft, or what were some of your UFO big experience Goldie Oldies?
Cool. I love how you went into that. I was trying to think of how to go into that from what you were saying. Um, One, so I don't forget, and don't let me forget what you just said. Going back to when Grandma had passed, literally the night after that weird thing, I saw for the first time in my life, really touching each other's fingers like ET weirdos. Anyway, I saw, and I'm not kidding, what looked like a gray, 7 to 8 feet tall, literally standing above me in the bed a day after Grandma had passed away, and I was thinking sadly again, right in that falling asleep time, um, us doing her post-mortem care sadly again, and I actually was starting to flip her over to clean her, and I felt, and you did too. That's what was, again, where it's not just I have these crazy experiences. A lot of times people with me see it and feel it with me, which is nice. So I don't feel so scared and alone. But literally felt something hit the bed right then, and it was like it woke me from my sleep. And I didn't see it at the time. I was totally like in shock, I think, mostly. And maybe I'm wrong. Something said it was Grandma actually telling me, don't think of that. Like she could somehow again see my sleep, my dream. My mind was literally able to connect with hers, and she was like, don't you think about me like that. Boom. And I know her enough. She's like very strong-willed. She's a Scorpio and all that, or she would be like, don't you dare. I want you to think about the good times. I know her. And I don't know. And when I woke up and I saw what looked like, again, a gray stepping towards me, and it reached its hand towards me, and it looked like, yeah, 3 fingers. That was what was weird. I remember 3. And it was like I passed out and went to sleep. So again, woke up later on going, oh my God, like, did I just get taken? What happened? So you're always thinking, I mean, at least me, did I get taken? Did I get probed? It's like, what happened? And then I'm always like, okay, God, show me what it was, whatever it is that was happening, so that I'm not afraid instantly. And I always think maybe again, either something was trying to help Grandma pass to the light or go to the ancestors, is what I felt. Something to the fairies, or it sounds weird, but there's something that was helping her transition to the light and was kind of trying to tell me it's okay, just rest, just relax, and don't think about that. Um, and then going to, again, laughing, because you used to say when I met you something weirdly about being probed. It was a joke about being probed by aliens all the time, remember? And I would say, don't say that, it's not a joke, you need to be careful. And it made me think of Down with the Sickness song, like Down with the Probing. You need to be careful, Jeffrey, because you've been having issues with having skin problems and so on. So again, like, you can't even joke around with stuff sometimes. Like, that's how I feel. And maybe again, I'm weird. I think there's something tied to Sasquatch, aliens, maybe aliens being half human and half, or aliens basically mixing with humans and having Sasquatch or something to that. Where I think Sasquatch are on the earth and they're able to do stuff for the aliens. Like you were saying, like eyes. There's different forms of things that are able to watch us through history and um different ancestral backgrounds of stories that are very similar, where it's like they're not maybe bad per se, whatever, they're there, they're watching you. And again, and I've said that, or why did I get pulled out of the tent? Whatever it was that was assessing me could have hurt me, it didn't. But there's something to that. And then I've had weird experiences as well, where I know I've had sadly scary things that I shouldn't have done, like having a fight with my ex-husband and driving very scary in Oregon. There's always weird stuff and stories, different places I've lived, but Oregon, in a very short amount of time, I had an experience where I was fighting with him, and I told you I was driving super fast, and looked over to the right of me, and I know I saw clear as day what looked like a rental vehicle because it didn't have normal license plates, and it had these 3 people sitting in it, men, and they were literally like creepily wearing the Men in Black suits, like the black suits with the white. And literally, I shouldn't say it, but I looked over and I thought, who are these creepy Mormon guys that are racing me and in a rental vehicle. This makes no sense. And I'm driving fast and they're looking at me and laughing, actually. I don't know how to explain it. Like they're actually entertained by me. Like, who is this crazy woman who's literally driving erratic and not afraid of anything? I don't know how to explain it. Almost like I entertain whatever it is that is watching us on the other side, as much as I'm entertained by them. So going to Klamath Falls again, 2013, right before I went into travel nursing. I was living in K Falls, and not in that same town, there is military. You mentioned as well. There's always almost hand in hand with paranormal, weird military, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm out in Keno, which again is very close to Native American. It's all native area, but very much so, very close to Chiloquin, which is actually sadly a reservation. And I've been out there. Again, say what you want to. I drive by reservations. I can tell you where they are, just like a cemetery. They draw me to them, and it feels the same. Sadly, heavy, sad. Don't forget us. Help us. Help. Don't forget us. Like, what is this? I don't know. With the same exact feeling. Out in Keno, again with a friend, looking at falling stars. There's a meteor shower going on, and this is the fall. And we're watching the falling stars, or I'm trying to show my friend the falling stars. He had never seen one. Again, not high, not messing around, hanging out with a guy friend, and we're watching falling stars. And I go, "There's one, there's one, there's one." Every time he looks, there's nothing, and he's like, "You're making it up." I'm like, "I'm serious. You're just not looking fast enough." And this is my friend I'm no longer friends with on Facebook. I won't say his name. Mine is Big Don from the Caribbean. And basically, he had said he was such a city boy that he had never gone out into the country and seen falling stars. So we look up, and I'm showing him a cluster of stars, and I said, "Just stare right there and you'll see one." And then a cluster of 3 stars start coming towards us, and he's like, "Is that a falling star?" I didn't say anything. And as you know, when and how am I quiet, right? Didn't say anything. And he's like, "Is that a falling star?" And there's like, it just keeps coming towards us. Dead silence, nothing. And all I can think of is, absolutely no, this is not a falling star. I'm thinking that's probably a UFO. And so I just said, "No, let's go, let's get in the car." And he's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Let's go." All I can think of is like, this thing's gonna come over us, pick us up, we're gonna get probed. So I just drove out fast as we could, and as we drove away, he's like, "What was that? What was that?" And I pretty much told him finally when we got all the way back to Klamath Falls, which is a good little drive, about 10 miles at least from Keno, that I'm pretty sure that was a UFO. And oh, to this day, it's very scary. I mean, literally, it felt like my bowels were shaking, and was very scared, more than I've ever felt, actually.
Yep, and that's an experience for sure. In the pyramid craft, there's so much to those that are weird. Like me and my mom saw some of those come out of a hole in the sky at some point. And she said, "Oh my God, Jeffrey." And I also saw some over power lines at one point with a ball of light that came down out of them. And there's just so many different levels of weirdness with that for sure. And then when you throw in the weird military stuff, that even gets more cuckoo cocoa crispy. And I'm trying to also what else was it? I remember that unsolved mysteries episode with all the coins. That was interesting. Where if you watch Unsolved Mysteries, there's an episode where the tribal police collect all these coins that appear out of nowhere and just keep falling. And that's in season 3 of the new Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix. It's interesting when a paranormal phenomenon manifests physical objects, which I don't know. I mean, we had the glass thing blew up when all that stuff happened. I guess that's the only time I've ever. Knocking could be considered that, when the bed got slapped and the RV got slapped. Like, that was some weird stuff. And during that time that she had seen that being over me that seemed possibly parasitical, I had the situation where I can let the white light fill my body from the sun at a window or outside, and then I can look into an area and see weird stuff. Like I saw a being over near her grandmother that was kind of like grayish, but it looked astral pink, like something you'd see when you looked at the sun or the flash of a camera, but in the form of a humanoid gray that was pinkish, like almost like in another dimension. And that was around the time that we had all the stuff happen with the slap on the bed in the middle of the night where something slapped the bed. And I thought something fell off a shelf, but nothing did. I looked around the bed, under the bed, and something slapped the bed very weirdly. And then at the same time, we were in the RV here, and something slapped the RV, and no one's around. My brother was the only person who would have did something like that, and he was nowhere around. And it reminded me of the bed incident, and it also reminded me of the glass incident. Like, was the same whatever? There's many levels to it, but was there an entity involved every three times that was always there for those three incidents? And was it the weird parasitical thing, or was it something else? I don't know. I have no idea what it was. But what what do you want? You want to add anything else about that?
Christina?
Well, it's interesting. I don't know if it's at all, I was going to say coincidental, but I'm trying my best to say I don't believe in coincidences. Synchronization. I think he said there was like 3 times there was something with with smacking or whatever, tapping, and that seems like a spiritual thing, usually kind of a confirmation. A lot of times, if anyone wants to communicate to the other side, whatever you want to call it, I mean, we're all energy, whether you want to believe we're whatever religion or whatever background we are. I think we don't just end, we always continue, just like love doesn't end when someone dies. We love them. And a lot of the things we think and say, people can say, oh, time changes love, you'll heal. You do in ways, but I think that love actually gets stronger with time. And that's a proof again of how it's energy and it can grow actually, even when you're physically not here and present, um, transitioning to the other side. Just made me think of that for some reason. Um, and that being said, right before I moved to Florida from Washington, um, to take care of mom and grandma again, help take care of them. Because I had moved all over as a travel nurse, as you know, and it's like I feel like I chose career and wanted to do that, and I'm thankful I did. But something had said I needed to now take care of my family, and so I did. I moved back to half my roots, my southern roots. My mom is from Tallahassee, and but right before moving, my friend David had passed, and he was military. So again, there's something weird, and I think it's tied. And I think maybe because the military is tied to the government and money and so on, money is power, right? So whoever has the money controls things, and that's where it goes to. Just like these animals that are tested, and basically David, my really good friend, that's who I had purchased my first American Bulldog from, um, sadly was dealing with multiple things from cancer and to myasthenia gravis, and basically he committed suicide. And so one of the things that had got me to think again how precious life is and how we need to value life, and again where I feel, I know it sounds weird, something dark and heavy has been trying to attack me my whole life, and where my gifts are, where I need to help other people. As I heal myself, I help others heal as a nurse. And like something dark has tried to take that gift out. And it's like seeing David, my friend, he's like literally was the strongest person I know, even at the point of his death. And he gave up on himself basically because the government gave up on him and all of that. But it's basically, long story short, something said choose life over career and choose life over money, because many people choose money over life, and I did for many years, working nights and so on, because yeah, compensation as a nurse and so on, that's considered success. But like basically moving across the country, I went across the death valley, the valley of shadow of death. And as I did, I was fearing no evil. I chased my fears with my dogs in my car, and that's all I had really. And when I went to what was very close to Area 51 in Nevada, I stopped to go to the restroom, and there was even a sign I took a picture of right there, weirdly. Again, like you asked, when did we see that dog man? Before or after the show? And I always love to know those facts exactly, and I do my best to remember it. We saw it before we saw the show. Because as you know, you can watch something and it can make your imagination kind of fire off something that maybe isn't real or whatever. But Area 51 saw an alien sign. This is before I ever met you, and took a picture of it. And right there, I looked down by my foot and there was a penny. And I picked it up and I thought, oh, this is from David. You said something about the coins in the Native American show, the Navajo Native police show, whatever. Basically, yes, they know how to communicate through things we can physically touch or see or understand. So, what can we understand? Coins, money, numbers. Money and numbers, especially, is a universal language, right? So, I picked up that coin thinking it was from my friend David, and it said 1987. My brother was born in 1987, and I was like, okay, whatever, it's not from him. That same day, I got a text from my brother, and I was supposed to see someone I really do care about, just like David, on the other side. And my friend AJ from the UK, a really cool guy that I grew up, he was like a brother, my brother's best friend, had just passed away that day. That day. And he was born in 1987. And I feel like he was telling me something. I really feel like he was saying, I passed away. Hey, how's it going? So I never got to actually say goodbye to him, which I was supposed to do on my way through on the way to Florida from Washington. So thanks, AJ. Thanks for the sign. So,
And we got about 4 minutes. Been a good show. Michelle Garza, Christina Giordano. And why don't we check out Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine, PCRM.org. That's PCRM.org. And it's a petition to stop animal cruelty for these jerks who want to hurt little dogs and give them weird things and claim it's for the sake of humanity. The sake of humanity. But anyway, I'm sure it's for their pocketbooks for more crap. My advice is smoke reefer and forget about the pills. I mean, sure, there are separate, some unique medical situations that may require that, but I find it hard to trust big pharma and pills and all that stuff. You just walk by a TV and see those pill commercials. They're like, oh, you'll have, your depression and your da 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 da, but you'll get a growth on your butt and it'll bleed. Like, just crazy stuff that makes no sense. Like, is the pill even worth taking it at that point? It's just everything's like a negative, dark mirror of what it's supposed to be helping. A lot of that stuff's weird. I mean, I don't know. I'm no physician, but I mean, of course, there are things that people have to take. But anywho, we got these splatter westerns, 2 more coming up, and then we take a break for. We'll have December 8th, Wiley Young. December 15th, RK Latch, and that's Dead Sky Publishing. And check out Dead Sky Publishing because they really put out some Weird West splatter western. Excuse me. It's basically Weird West with splatter and horror elements. So westerns with strange creatures and strange tales and denizens of the dark, like a werewolf or a zombie or a vampire or things like that. I want to see that new Nosferatu. I think that guy's a good filmmaker. I'm interested in his take. Plus, when do we get a Nosferatu movie? Like, never. Hardly. We had the flight of the Demeter or whatever. The flight of it. What was the final voyage of the Demeter, which was good. But this one seems like it's going to be just like the old school, silent film. But it's got Skarsgård in it, the dude that played the It Clown. He's about to play the Crow dude. He's the shapeshifter of the century, Mr. Skarsgård. Well, thanks, Christina Giordano. Anything you'd like to add? You got like a minute. Would you like to say farewell to our audience?
Well, I guess thank you for sharing this time together, the preciousness of life. And I'm trying to think of what else. You make me laugh.
We're going to say a prayer. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ and the Great Spirit to open this channel of positivity and blessings across the land
for a holy Christmas. We know they stole it from the Vikings, but we'll still give Jesus some props. But we hope you all have a great weekend. God bless. And we send love to the aliens, to you, to the Sasquatch people, to the dog people, and to all the nations of the earth. Amen, mother truckers. That's right. United Public Radio, 107.7 FM New Orleans. And get your Weird West on. You can check out Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell. That's a weird one. Guess who else is in that one? Sid Haig. We'll have to watch that. I'll watch it again. It's been a while, so I don't remember anything because I'm usually vague.
But anyway, everybody have a
weekend. We'll talk to you later.
Good night.